What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Burndown YouTube channel. Trying to keep you guys posted, but maximize the time that I have working on this thing, because time is something we are running out of. So let me show you guys how we ended up on the water to air intercooler plumbing. And then today we're going to do a little bit of stuff, and I'll just kind of bring you guys along with that. I've got a blow-off valve hiding over here I started playing with, so we're going to attach that today. And then I had a question for a shifter, but we'll get into that. Let me show you this first. So I welded on a little standoff so we could clamp it here. And the reason for that is because these things just want to kind of go up and then come over. Well, they're getting into the bottom of the hood. So we need to keep it, you know, along the same lines and height as this to keep them from rubbing on the bottom of the hood. Granted, it's a fiberglass hood, so I mean, it'd probably take forever and a day to rub through, but I guess it's possible, right? So I'd rather just not. So we got that, punched it through, we cut some fuel line, made the grommets. I decided to go in the car instead of underneath to avoid all the stuff and things underneath the car. So it comes down, it's well above the throttle. So I'm happy with all that stuff. I feel like it's still safe. And then we put little P-clamps all the way so it's clamped on the floor. Remove these wonderful factory quarter panel dudes. So yeah, it cruises around, and then we will zip tie it, and then like where it touches here, because this edge is kind of sharp, I'll make sure that we wrap this. I think I want to put this under a carpet anyway. And then we punched it back through the rear bulkhead. Oh, I need to see if my wiring will fit through that little square. But anyway, same thing with the old trick with the fuel line. Cruises back through here. I've got my little flow guy. So that's my little dump relief. Granted, where it is, it won't empty this whole thing, but I really didn't want this thing hanging down to like get knocked off or hit by something, so it is up higher than, you know, any of my stuff back here. So it won't empty it completely, but I'm okay with that. I don't think this thing ever has to be 100% empty. It'll need water to circulate, but we'll pack it with ice and fun things. Speaking of that, I made a little screen mesh because the fitting is right underneath this, and it dumps right into my pump, which is down there. So if you were doing something, you drop something in there, it would go straight into the pump. And that's just a little plastic impeller guide, and it'd lock that thing up. So the return, and then the dump guy, he's actually right underneath this thing too, where it dumps the water out. So that's about the level. Basically the water will go to right about that thing if you dumped it all out. Got the mount in, got it all clamped down. It's kind of kinked a little bit, but it's the best we could do with what we got for the inlet. And then there she is. Bada boom, bada bing. So we got to put some power to it. So maybe later in the episode, as the silicone, all the stuff's tight and dry, maybe I could fire up like a drill battery. We'll figure out which is positive, which is negative. See if we can pump some water through the system. But first and foremost, I took this off my blow-off valve, and I was looking for spots to put it, and it actually does fit in here. Like I could put it here. My blow-off valve sits here. Let me show you guys. So this guy here. So I could put it here, which I thought about, but then it blocks this bolt, right? So not a terrible big deal, but if I had to get this out, I mean, granted, I guess this pipe would just come off, obviously, if I had to pull it out anyway. But then aesthetic wise, you know, it's so-so, and then it actually fits over here. So it opens the front up. And then the other thing too is this has to go to reference, which I'm just gonna run the same line because that goes to vacuum reference. So we'll tee it off of here, and I think if I run it here, that's a simple jog around to that guy, versus if it's over here, we got a lot more hard line. I mean, I guess I can cruise up and keep it back here and tuck it in. So I don't know, we'll have to see. I'll look at it, we'll play with it a bit. I can get rid of this guy. That's just a tab to hold the puke tank that used to be there. So, and then obviously it's not that tight because it still has a standoff. Otherwise I could stuff it like something like that, but I'd have a hard time with the fitting. So yeah, essentially It's either that or this. So either way, I got to cope this better. This comes coped from VS, but it's not 100. So I'll mess with this and cope it, and then we'll do an eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and catch the tiger by its blow-off valve, and we'll stick it on there somewhere. So let me mess with this. We'll make an executive decision. Show you what we pick. We'll bring it back. We'll get it welded up. So we ended up picking the front corner to do this. So this is where it goes down, and then this is facing to the front. Another thing that I'm going to do is I made the hole, I opened it up, but I didn't open it all the way to the edge of this. So after I weld this on, I'll come back with my carbide bit and then open it the rest of the way. That way it leaves some meat, so when I'm welding, it's not getting hot and melting off on me on the inside. So if you're wondering why we did that, that is why. Aluminum likes to run away on you. We got our fit down, and then this thing is very, like, it's holding it but not great. This is kind of what I came up with. So let's try to get this thing stuck on there. I'll show you guys what it looks like. Ta-da! So there she is, hot off the welding bench. Beads and boogers. So we'll let it cool off a little bit, and then I'll take my little die grinder to the inside of that, and we should be good. I don't know if that's good or not, but it looks like there's a couple spots we got a little melty. Anyway, maybe it's just gonna fall off. I don't know. YouTube certified. I do have to say, there's nothing more annoying than flies bugging you when you're doing stuff. And maybe because it's overcast, I have 10 million of them right now. Look at, I'm gonna walk real slow and see if you can see them on the car. Oh, look at all his buddies. Look at all these guys. All these annoying little jerks all over the place. Hey, can you guys find somewhere else to go? Look at him. Oh, look at that dude. Whoa. So I think part of that is due to the neighbors putting a new lawn in, and they spread manure all in his backyard. Like the whole block smelled yesterday. Actually, probably just my house. And I was like, man, why does it stink? So that's probably attracting all these guys, which makes it more fun. You know, you're laying there trying to swat your leg and you're trying to think at the same time. Oh, so fun. I want to point something out. I probably would have found it sooner or later, but this needs to go to a reference line, right? I had my fuel pressure screwed in to the top of this. Well, this is for vacuum and boost to adjust the pressures here. It's not for fuel. So this was obviously going to that, and this would have seen fuel, which is pretty funny. I mean, I don't know if we would have got that far, but regardless, I'm gonna take this opportunity because, yeah, if I wanted to put fuel pressure, it'd have to be in here, right? Well, it's kind of difficult to see. So I went through my bag of tricks, and I gotta shout out my boys, War Performance. So they sent me some AN fittings, if you watch the video, and I put them in my box. I didn't really need them at the time, but I always save them. Here you go. 8 AN fuel gauge adapter. This is gonna make quick work, give me fuel pressure so it's not underneath there all weirdo. We're just gonna plug it in right here, give a little extra bendy bend to this guy. Bada boom, bada bing, we'll have a fuel gauge hanging out right where we can see it. Easy access. That makes life better. So go check them out. Thank you guys again. And yeah, you guys saved me. So here's a quick look at the connection. Cruises around, and I just mimicked the donkey lines. And then we have our T over there, and it spins around to connect here, and then this goes to the back. So I tried to keep that tight in there, you know, so it wasn't such a obstruction, and it's not going to get into nothing. And then this thing's pretty taut. We'll see. If anything, I could zip tie it to maybe this mount, but for the most part, like I said, it doesn't really, I mean, it's just all finger tight. I think there's no bends in it, except for this long portion here, but it's really nothing too much to rub on. So I feel pretty good about that. Let me move on, see what else we can get accomplished. I want to wrap it a little bit early today. Today is technically a holiday. It is Veterans Day, so thank you I'm sorry, it's Memorial Day. What a boob. It's Memorial Day, so thank you to all the veterans. That's what I was trying to say. So thank you to all the veterans, all the people that make it possible for horsepower and freedom. Okay, so I riveted this guy in. This is sitting on the outside, and I got to looking at him like, oh, it's bugging me, and I can't put the hood on because those clecos were hanging out, right? So this is all nice, and that goes in there. And that reminded me, I was putting away my flare tools for all the hardline, and I was like, man, I gotta double check to make sure my dome pressure sensor will work, right? Well, the way this is clocked, I've got a pressure sensor that can live here, no good, or a pressure sensor that can live here. Would it fit? Possibly. There's a lot of heat going on down here, right? That sensor's not gonna live. And I was like, well, I can change. It's gotta be this port or this port. Those are my options because it's gotta be in the dome. So I think what we'll do, this is a pretty easy line. I didn't spend a lot of time making that, right? No big deal. So I think we'll take this one off here, and then I will reroute this to the backside here on that guy. And then my sensor can live here, right? So this will go and tee off to this one. So we'll remake this little section with these guys, which kind of sucks, but I should have put a little more forethought into that. And since I have the tools out, and then that is it. So once I whip that line out, it is done as far as plumbing, I think, goes. And then I'll share this with you guys. I don't know if I showed you or not, but this is the turbo drain. And then this guy, it was a hardcore like 90, and it was up higher, and I just didn't like that it was close to that. So I actually bent this down a little bit, so you can see we've got pretty decent spacing. I'm gonna put lava wrap and like this silver foil on this thing just to give it the best shot of surviving, and then this will cruise down and then go to the pan whenever the pan decides to show up one of these days, right? I'm gonna put a P-clamp underneath here too. So yeah, let's remake that one more hard line, and then we'll call it a day for filming. Ta-da! So yeah, just took out the little shorty guy, and then just made a little whoop, and then it's over far enough we can have this attached. My bumper is out here, that'll protect it, so I feel good about that. That'll work out perfect. We are gonna have to extend this because the old dome sensor was way up here, so we have some wiring to do, but we'll save that for another day. Thank you guys for following along. Don't forget to visit the merch store, get your sticker pack, get a poster, get some stuff. It'll help put a couple gallons of fuel in the tank so we can get this thing where we need to go. Until next time, you guys know what to do. I'm out.